and the city of Johannesburg gave birth to what has now become the go-to place for a live music venue for lovers of jazz. We're referring to the Orbit Jazz Club and Bistro in Braamfontein, which some might argue that it is the answer to the closure of one of Johannesburg's most famous jazz venues, Kippies, remember, which was situated in Newtown. The Orbit has gone on to host countless award-winning jazz artists, such as one of my favorites, composer, drummer Kesivan Naidoo, as well as saxophonist, clarinet and flute player Magnus Lindgren, to name only a few of those. Well, to tell us more about how the home of jazz plans to celebrate this milestone, we're joined by owner of the Orbit Jazz Club and Bistro, Kesivan Naidoo, as well as the Programme Manager Sibongakonke Mama. Ladies, gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
Morning, Lebo.
Kevin, I need to start with you. I mean, when you had the idea of starting the Orbit, what did you have in mind? And given the fact that there were so many closing around you at that time?
Well, I think Johannesburg has such a rich history of jazz music, such a great tradition. And something had to be done to keep that tradition alive.
Yeah.
There's plenty of musicians in the city, so there's a wealth of talent that we can tap into. So we had no problem there.
Yeah.
And then after that, just purely a love for having, to see that music on stage.
Yeah.
There had to be a space that does that. I know I wasn't alone in that. I had lots of friends who were saying the same thing. Where do we go? People were asking the question. And it had to be done. Yeah.
Sibongakonke, let me bring you into this conversation. Making sure that all these nights and people that love jazz are there and, they experience what it says on the promos. And for instance, let's talk about putting together the music for the Orbit. What goes into that?
Lots of love.
Yeah.
Lots of love, lots of listening to music, thankfully for me. And just being in touch with what's going on in the jazz scene and with the established musicians as well as the young and upcoming musicians, and just organizing and planning properly and being in tune with the festivals that are happening around the African continent, around the city, around other parts of South Africa, So yeah, it's lots of listening to music, thankfully for me, which I enjoy, and it's a lot of keeping in touch with artists as well, seeing what they're up to and stuff like that.
We're going to need to fix that, Mike. It seems the gremlins are wide awake this morning. I'm going to bring Kevin into this conversation while we continue fixing your mic. Looking back at the last 3 years, what are some of the highlights? And I know it's a lot to ask, but think about it and then tell me now, the highlights of the Orbit and seeing it grow.
Wow, you're quite right. It is quite a lot. We have enjoyed our anniversary festivals, and that's been so great to have that festival feel, but not as in a mass concert, but a more intimate space where you're having a festival where everyone's there to enjoy the jazz. That's something that stands out for me.
Yeah.
Wow, it's just so many great gigs. It's so hard for us because I'd love to be at every single gig, listening to it. You got to work, even if you're there. You're behind the scenes. You're doing this, you're doing that. And wow, but it's just such great musicians in this country, and we're so blessed to actually have them on our stage.
Let's talk about the celebrations, okay? How are we marking this 3-year anniversary? What's on the lineup?
Insanely talented musicians. We're very, very excited about the lineup this year. We've gone all out to make sure that we're celebrating young people. We're celebrating women's contribution to jazz and music culture in South Africa. We're celebrating our legends and we're celebrating what's to come. So from Tuesday to Sunday, we have the Ziza Maftich Quintet. We have Didi Luzipo, who performed earlier on with Africa Pella. We have Nomfundo Kwaluva Quartet. We have Abigail Kubeka. We have Bratemba Mukwena and Budandile Yenana. We have Braherbi Tswaedi and Brad Lewis Moholo, and we have Benjamin Jefta, which is the 2017 Standard Bank Young Artist of the Year, as well as Brafea Faku. So it's one hell of a lineup that no one can afford to miss.
And Kevin, you've always stayed true to that intimate jazz feel. Why was that important to you, so that it doesn't take away from what jazz venues have? That intimate, small, grand piano type of thing going?
Absolutely. That is really what we attempted to do. our venue can seat 200, 250 people. We wanted that intimate nature. It's the key point and the key reason you come to the Orbit. You can see a lot of the musicians on a larger stage with lots of people there, but what we try to do is create that intimacy with the musician, the up close and personal with the musician, and we feel that will create a stronger connection with the music.
All right. Thank you so much. We're going to give Africapella a chance to play as well so that they can give you a taste of what to expect. With us there was the owner of the Orbit Jazz Club and Bistro. If you haven't heard, it's in Braamfontein. Kesivan Naidoo there, and then as well as the Programme Manger Sibongakonke Mama speaking to us about the home of jazz's best live jazz venue, celebrating 3 years, kicks off next week sometime. Abigail Kubeka, Benjamin Jefter, as you said there, Titi Luzip. All right, let's take a quick ad break. We're back after this. The 14th to the 19th. Those are the dates for you. All right, stay with us.
Ngimthandayo